Some measures, right? They don't have to pass anything anytime soon. The Treasury has, they can kick it off for a while, right?
Yeah, that's true. We heard from Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin that he's going to start taking extraordinary measures starting this week to make sure the U.S. government fulfills its financial obligations and does not default on its debt. The debt ceiling needs to be raised at some point this year. We heard from the Treasury Department that they hope that that happens sooner rather than later, so they don't have to continue shifting around money and taking extraordinary measures to pay those bills. But it doesn't look like Congress or the White House is pushing for a rapid lifting of the debt ceiling. It's something that White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer says is at least a few months away.
It might be a few months away, but so far the rhetoric we've heard from Republican leaders, say in the Senate, is that it won't be any issue. It's not going to be a repeat of the brinksmanship that we had seen, say, in 2015.
That's right, Scarlett. The Republicans want to show that they are now the governing party. They have control of both houses of Congress as well as the White House. So they want to reassure Americans, reassure the financial markets that there's not going to be a government shutdown or a default on the U.S. obligations, that they're going to be able to handle this. They're going to be able to get together as Republicans, maybe bring a couple Democrats on board and pass this through. So they're saying that we're not expecting to see the fights that we saw when President Obama was in charge and Republicans did not want to raise the debt limit without receiving some kind of bargain and some kind of deal from the president.
And, you know, this sort of speaks to a bigger thing, which is that the party in power never wants to exercise fiscal restraint. The party out of power suddenly gets really concerned about deficits and debt that they never cared about, whether they were in power. But the Republicans who had, unlike, say, after 2011, when Republicans actually had control of Congress, no one really has the power to stop this. There's no one really who has the inclination to, right?
Yeah, that's true. Now, we have seen some backbone from Republicans, conservatives within Congress, specifically on the health care bill, where they're not necessarily going along just because the president supports something and leadership supports something. Now, in the past, Republicans, who are part of the House Freedom Caucus, have been against raising the debt limit. Now, one of those caucus members is actually the president's budget director. So it'll be interesting to see how he works with his former colleagues and whether or not he's able to get them on board. But there are several Republicans who are concerned about the debt and who don't want to necessarily give the president a blank check to spend as much money as he wants. So the president may need to cajole some of those Republicans and some of those conservatives in the Congress. But you're right, the Democrats don't really have a lot of power to stop Republicans from doing what they want in terms of raising the debt limit.
And in this story, we write that it might just be too tempting for the president to not make this something that he can hold over the heads of his political opponents. What do we know about what he said in the past about Democrats' willingness to raise a debt ceiling and Republican stubbornness against that?
Yeah, we have several tweets from then private businessman Donald Trump where he said that Republicans should use the debt limit as a bargaining chip and as a way to negotiate and get Democrats to come to the table. It'll be interesting to see whether he keeps that same philosophy about the debt limit and whether he tries to extract some kind of concessions from Democrats, whether or not he tries to reduce spending and reduce the size of the federal government in exchange for lifting the debt ceiling. Right now, we have not heard much from the president about this, even as his Treasury Secretary has raised alarms and said that that debt limit needs to be raised as soon as possible. It'll be interesting to see if President Trump, who has branded himself as a deal maker, uses this as an opportunity to make another deal with Congress.